Hey Alyssa, thanks for letting me do a quick little video, kind of giving you some feedback on your photos. I think you said you were frustrated, and I don't think you should be frustrated. These are pretty good. These are cool. So I would be happy to have taken these, and then just knowing some improvements that I would do in the future. So for this photo, I think the background is a little bit too bright. Now, it's easy to say that, right? Because you did the best job you could. You got them in the shade, and you got them so there's not light streaks on them. I think you did a perfect job. You couldn't have done anything really differently. The only thing some people would say is you should have maybe used a flash to do some fill flash, or an external flash, like a strobe, or have an assistant come with like reflectors and throw some light back in them to balance the light out more. I'm not big into that. I almost never do that. So I think what you did is fine. I'll show you what I would do to the background in a minute or two. The only thing I would probably say on this one, I'd like a different crop maybe. The fingers are cropped awkwardly, and I'd maybe crop below the elbow so I get the back, the top of his head, a little bit over there, kind of the rule of thirds type thing, and below the elbow. That would also push you a little bit back so you don't see the folds of his neck quite as much. But I think it's a good photo. I like that it's close. I like that you're focusing on emotion within the context of a larger group of photos. I think it probably fits in pretty well, right? This one I really enjoy their expressions. I think it's a little cold. Um, this one, the skin tones look a little warmer. This one's a little colder. Um, so you could probably fix that pretty easily. And the background is a little distracting with the big bright, highlights that are blown out. So what I would do is I would get away from as much of the background as you can. I'd crop right above his head, over here underneath to where their hands are. Again, anytime there's interactions between them and they're holding hands, I try to get that. So I want that hand in there, and I think that would make a stronger photograph. But great job. They look really like just happy. I think they'll love that. So I love that you recognize that moment and you really got it, right? You got that moment. More important than anything is getting these types of interactions between brides and grooms. The background's too bright. By a little bit, I'll show you how to fix that. And this one, you see how the skin tones change? A little colder and a little bit warmer. Try to, if you can be more consistent on Lightroom between photos, getting your white balance to be similar. It's a little tough outside. All the greens are throwing, that tint back into the couple, but it's these still look pretty good. And this one is the same kind of concept. The background's too bright. You can't change that. So what we do in this photo, I would also crop this right above his finger right there, and I would shoot this vertically. So we're gonna shoot that right at his shoulders, the vertical crop, right below their hands holding the bouquet, and you're gonna have a way stronger photograph where the focus is on them. Because in this photograph, I don't care about the background here. There's nothing there to look at except for blown out highlights, and the top here I don't care about either. I want to focus on them. And when you crop in close, you're going to force the viewer to look right at their interactions, which is actually pretty nice, right? She's got a great smile. I think that would help out the photo a lot. I picked out a photo that is similar. I took years ago. And same concept. We were out. This was right after the wedding. It was a super bright day. It was like noon or 1 o'clock, and it was really hot. So they were sitting in the shade, and I shot this kind of getting low. And there's super, bright highlights up here and in the back. So what I do when I do something like this is I just kind of I fix the photo for them first. So I'm looking at this. Oops, I'm in the wrong tool, and I'm going to boost that a little bit. And that's too bright, but I don't care. I'll show you what I'm talking about. A little bit more contrast. I make them look good. Boost the highlights, and I might go. I like this new texture. It sharpens without getting too crazy. It's kind of cool. And then to get rid of the highlights, I'm going to go into an adjustment brush, and I will lower the exposure. Let's see, we can adjust this later. A little bit of whites and a little bit of highlights just to kind of see. And I'll start to paint on the super bright areas of the photograph. And you can see it starts to darken them. The highlights there, the blown out highlights, are not quite as annoying and not as distracting, which is the point, right? And I'll take this one a little bit, and I'll do the background here. And I'm just going to be little, I'm going kind of quick, but you can be careful not to get his body and face. But look at that. It's already better, right? It's a much better photograph. So when you go, that's what I started with, and that's what I ended with. I like that better. I might even bring them out a little bit more. So I'll draw like a radial gradient. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. And I will change these and brighten that. Oh, that's too much. There we go. Just a little bit. A little bit on the contrast. See that? I like that. So start, finish, not too bad, right? Not too shabby. And you know, you've got great photos here. These are nice. Do not be frustrated. And if you ever need anything, just go ahead and let me know. Thanks a lot.